want to know what it is. The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window, or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, at church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison.
I bring to you the return of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. Story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Hello. Welcome back for another episode of The Return of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I am Mr. Smith. This is Mrs. Smith, last time I checked, yes.
He keeps saying that every week. I think everybody knows by now.
Yeah, we do. You're like twins.
Yeah.
Twins.
But
So what's...
we wanted to let you guys know, we really appreciate your support with the radio show and the YouTube channel. Please go to our official website at radio.ufoteacher.com, and you'll see the YouTube playlist there and the link for clicking on the YouTube channel and subscribing to it. We need those subscriptions. We need your support. Let's keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
We are well over 300 subscribers, and we're shooting for our first 1,000 subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which will be a huge benefit to you, me, and everybody else. So make sure you get there and do it. We are also on SoundCloud, thanks to Global Enlightenment Radio. And more importantly, we are now, Linda found us on iHeartRadio.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can find The Return of Mr. and Mrs. Smith on iHeartRadio.
If you have the app, just look up Global Enlightenment Radio Network, and all of their radio shows are right there, including ours. It's
Yes.
amazing.
So now you can listen to us wherever you go, even in the car.
That's
Okay,
scary.
I know. We're everywhere now.
I know. Patreon,
Yes.
Human Origins Foundation.
So, we got some good news for everybody. Linda and I have officially gotten our nonprofit status with the state of New Mexico for the Human Origins Foundation. It's a real thing. It's a reality. And we're on DUNS, we're on SAM, we are registered everywhere we can be. We're just waiting a couple weeks to get saturated in the system, but we are there. We have our official number, and we've been spreading it around. We are targeting getting a new website set up for humanoriginsfoundation.org.
Mm-hmm.
That's the website. HumanOriginsConference.com is still active, and we're getting that set up for HOC 2021.
Hopefully.
Okay.
I am actually, I did get a message back from the hotel.
Okay. Marriott.
So it's the Marriott Pyramid in Albuquerque, and I'm still working with them, but we're looking at either late March or mid-April for the conference. I haven't gotten a confirmed date yet.
Yes, I know.
This is all pending COVID restrictions, etc.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Which is basically what wrecked 2020 to begin
yes,
with.
but we do have a Patreon account for the Human Origins Foundation. We could use everybody's support if possible to get this thing really going off the ground.
And we have a special treat set up for you guys at our Patreon account.
Yes.
So many donations gets you into
Well, we have 3 different levels.
3 different levels, right?
Mhm.
What is it? A shirt, a mug, and
A sticker, Human Origins sticker, a Human Origins Foundation coffee mug, or a T-shirt, depending on which level donation you are.
right. And you get the logo right on it there.
Yep, it's already done.
We have our new official Human Origins Foundation logo. set up as well. We'll be spreading that around on the social media gamut as well. So our new logo, we had to create a logo. So that was an all weekend process because in order to submit paperwork to the foundation, you have to print it out on your own official letterhead.
Yes.
So it was like, shit, we don't even have a logo. Let's fix that.
Thank God we have a graphic designer in house.
I don't know who would that be. So,
I know, he's so good.
so yes, we created something very nice and unique, different from the Human Origins Conference because we
Yes.
wanted them to have their own identities. We didn't want them getting confused with each other. So, because the Human Origins Foundation is the umbrella
Yes.
for which a lot of other things are going to be happening. Right now, the flagship is the conference, but as time goes on, a lot of other programs are going to be introduced, and which we are extremely excited about. It took many years to see this dream come true.
Aren't you
But
glad
here
I
we are.
pushed you?
Yes. This is my pusher right here.
I am. Because
I can tell.
It would have happened. Come on, do it. Do it.
Do it,
Let's
do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
One of the things that I'm planning on doing with the Human Origins Foundation, especially because this COVID thing is just taking over
yes.
everywhere,
The webinar.
is I want to have some mini webinars through the foundation on Zoom. I'm in the works with that. I have a few guests lined up. Cynthia. And
Love
so
you.
they are going to be paid webinars, so you would have to pay to see the webinar. But once you pay for that ticket, you will also have unlimited access afterwards to watch the recording if you wanted to. So
And that's the reversed way of saying that our webinar speakers get paid.
Yes.
Yes.
Linda.
I was getting to that.
Yes. So, yes.
Nice.
This is not, pro bono
It's not,
seminars.
I
okay?
would not do webinars and not have to pay my speakers. I think that's a total disrespectful thing to do. So keep an eye out for that. And now let's get to the most important part of the day.
Yes.
Our special guest, my sister.
Sister.
That's right.
We have a very special guest. We've been
Yes.
looking forward to having her on the show. And do you want to, I wanted to tell them about her.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead. We have, this is Cynthia Martinell, and she is someone that we have known for several years now. She's an innovative executive trainer and facilitator, a cutting-edge business coach at Grow Abundantly, and a successful business owner. She has been working as a literary consultant, an activist, and free thinker. And believe it or not, all three of those things are extremely powerful tools with the way she uses them. She talks about hope, knowledge, and solutions to problems. Being a free thinker, what she researches changes her, changes who she becomes. Therefore, and I think that happens with a lot of us.
Yes.
Therefore, I call this extreme environment a free thinker's platform.
Yes.
She's also the host of the Cynthia Martinell Show on More TV, and that's moretv.com. Go check it out.
And it's MOOR, not MORE.
Yeah, and it's not Moon either, for those of you who are dyslexic, okay? But, and they're also, her shows are on their More TV YouTube channel too.
Yeah.
Now, these links are on radio.ufoteacher.com. So if you're trying to speed right now, don't bother. Just go to the website. The links are there, okay? And the YouTube and the website, all the websites are there. But she's also the CEO of a great publishing house called Noble 7 Publications, Moorish Estate.
Yeah.
And you got to check out the books they got on there. They will blow your mind. Publishing for Indigenous and Aboriginal peoples. The Cynthia Martinell Show, its focuses on reading books, entertainment, world news, politics, the arts, poetry, nationality with knowledge in diverse areas of topics that will improve your overall life, career, health, spirituality, and so much more.
More.
Okay. Cynthia helps writers and content creators tell their best inclusive stories using racial and restorative justice practices as it relates to nationality. She also works to assist communities in creating inclusive spaces, which is extremely important.
Yeah.
Her literary activism is another name for the fight for inclusivity in publishing. While her job is to service authors and their journeys into publishing, she also believes in helping readers discover stories that mirror their lived experiences. Prophet Noble Drew stated, "The most important thing in the hands of the people is their ability to own their press, media, and literature."
Yes.
And how many times have we heard that throughout history?
Yes,
Yeah.
over and over.
Exactly. And she has an extensive 20 plus years corporate background as well, which can be accessed on our website at Noble 7 Publications. And the website is Buy This Book Today. Or we'll shoot this dog. Okay.
Not my baby. He sleep on the floor, so I hope he doesn't wake up for an hour, because he'll start knocking on the door when he wakes up.
Borrowing a line from Mad Magazine years ago.
Yes.
Finally, welcome.
Thank you guys so very much. I love you too. You know that you're like family to me and always have been. And you know, today I thought maybe the topic of discussions, we just free flow some conversations, and who the Moors are, advancing literacy and true Moor science in adults and children 2020 and beyond. So, I will hopefully engage our audience today to ensure that they are prepared to undertake all components, with focus on literacy and Moor's knowledge in knowing norms and jurisprudence of international laws, treaties, and contracts, etc. A lot of our people, because they don't have not the ability, but they don't have the resources to the books or the numerous amounts of books that we need to research. And Richard and Linda, you both can understand the cost and the tenacity it takes to even research the information once you hear it. This is a mouthful, but areas of important interest to get things organized. And I think we've been saying that nationality is the order of the day for so long. Yes, it is. But then as I was speaking to a colleague, an author, well, I call him a colleague because he is in collaboration with Noble 7. We were talking the other night, and he was, we were saying, nationality is the order of the day, nationality is the order of the day. And then we started thinking, well, it's been 100+ years since the prophet passed form, and look at us.
Yeah.
We're even worse than during Jim Crow's in 1920s. What's going on? So then we came up to the conclusion that, yes, we have everything we need in order to save our nation, but it's the organization that needs to be addressed. So then we said #organization is the order of the day. Okay, now before I get deeper into that, before we get started, I just like to make a disclaimer, because I do this for my show all the time, because audience, they hear some information and they may not have heard the information before. So I say that you may hear some things that we talk about today that you don't like, or that you never heard before. That's okay. Like I said, I'm a free thinker and I'm unapologetically about that. But I said that I'm an activist also, advancing literacy and nationality, and then the organization. So a warning, you may not like what is being said today because you haven't heard it, you don't understand it, but that's okay. This is not a debate show. This is a learn show. So what I would like for you guys to do is get a paper and pencil and just start jotting down information that you hear that you never heard that you want to know about. And then after it's said and done, go and do the research on it.
Yes.
If it's true for you, then it's true for you. If it's not, it's not. We don't want to hear any negativity today. And I'm gonna say this up front because I've been on a lot of platforms as of late, and some people that have the knowledge, if someone says a word like, well, Black people or this, and then the little typewriter people start going, oh, well, tell her or them not to say Black. Well, okay, people, let's get it straight. We like titles. I don't, but I have titles only in my business arena. I'm a student. I don't know everything. I don't profess to know everything. Okay, so when I'm asking all of you intelligent Moors out there, if someone is saying something that you don't agree with or whatever, use that as a teaching moment.
Yes.
Instead of stabbing everybody in the back, trying to make them understand what is supposed to be said.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the average person who is not a Moor needs to be brought into it with the fundamentals first.
Yes.
And of course, for the more learned people, they tend to get impatient. Why is he using these terms? Well,
right. Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are listening who don't even know where the hell I'm coming from. So
Exactly. Exactly. So what I'm saying is that's with anything in the world and anything in the learning process. At one moment, we didn't know. Okay. And we didn't have everything. Now, I was raised fortunately to know something about the Moors. I was. But as I grew up, and you become convoluted with, society.
Yeah.
So you sort of forget things, or you lay back because, no one else is knowing it or doing it. So you don't talk about it or live it. But at the same time, I still don't know everything, but I know who I am. Okay. And whatever that means. So moving forward, I try and teach people to, be a student. And that's what Noble Drew Ali told us. He said, study, study, study. And when you study best, study yourself. Yeah. So I also read the statistics for adult readers, which is very, disturbing. But I'm gonna go ahead and share that with the audience because I do it every single time. And this is from 1986. Okay, you can Google it because I Google everything, and then I research it to death. Okay, but the statistics for adult readers. 33% of high school grads never read another book the rest of their lives.
Oh my God.
Wow, holy cow.
43% of college grads never read another book after college. 57% of new books are not read to completion.
Right.
70% of US adults have not been in a library the last 5 years.
Wow.
And because of that, a lot of libraries here are closing.
Yes.
80% of US families did not buy or read a book last year.
80%.
80% of US families did not buy or read a book last year. And according to research from Thomas Crowley, 85% of self-made millionaires read 2 or more books per month.
Oh, yeah.
And I think y'all heard me say that on my reading show.
Yeah.
It's like, for the naysayers, I always tell them, or the intellectual masturbators, I always tell them that, hey, if you don't read a book a month, be quiet.
Right.
Exactly.
Be quiet, because, you don't know everything. So it's not nice that you come on and try to act like you do. But, publishing to me was the part that I used to do in corporate America. So I figured I can come out here and really do what Noble Drew Ali said. Own your own literature, media, and publishing.
Yes.
Yes.
So I said, So 2 years ago, I decided to shine the light on some knowledge, and our goal is to learn real history, not his story.
Right. Exactly. First story.
Exactly. All authors or writers and thinkers know that magical worlds await in between 2 covers and a spine. I know it does for me. This is my favorite. Yeah. This is the book that I sleep with, and I covered it because Richard knows the story behind this. This is because I'm an experiencer. We won't go into that today, but we will on another show because I have proof and everything. But when I realized at 3, I was one, and as the years went on, I would always look for information, books, and things in order to validate that.
Yeah.
And in 2012, my validation came. It came first to me in me receiving my 333, which I have never taken off in 20 years. I'm sorry, because 2001, this is only 2020. It'll be 20 years next year.
Wow.
But I never take it off because I received it when I used to work the Olympics. Okay, so when I got back from the Olympics, I went immediately to San Antonio. I live here in Houston, Texas. So USAA is an Army insurance company. So that was my client. So after the Olympics, I went there and I was opening up 2 of their eating facilities. So I was at the Holiday Inn sleeping and getting ready to get up in the morning to go to work like we all do, or Job, as I call it, jump out of bed. But anyway, at 3:33 in the morning, I wake up and I had to go to the restroom. So I see this big orb by my bed.
Oh, yeah.
And I never saw it before. Now I'm an empath, so I can feel things and I know things, okay? But I had never seen an orb. Now my sister can see things, but she doesn't like to admit it. But anyway, moving back to me, it was 3:33 in the morning, and I woke up and there was this orb. So of course I never seen anything. You know what we do? We do like this, like kids. Oh, what's that? Mommy, But anyway, and I went like this, and it was still there. So I'm like, okay, Cynthia, what is this? So I was really scared. So I just laid in the bed, didn't get up. And in the morning, I went to work, but I was just flustered. I didn't know what to think, what it was, or anything like that. So during the day, I didn't tell anyone. I had my regional safety director there. Her name is Dorothy Delala, rest her soul. She's already transitioned. And I told her, she said, Cynthia, you've been off all day. What's wrong? I said, well, last night I had an experience. I don't know what it means, but I saw this thing. I didn't call it an orb at that moment because I didn't know that's what it was. And I just explained to her, I said, it was beautiful. It wasn't scary, but it was just beautiful. And it was iridescent colors. And I said, I didn't know what it was. So I just stayed in the bed until the light came up, the sun. So she said, well, if it happens again, she said, talk to it. I was like, I'm not talking to nothing. Are you crazy? I'm not talking to nothing. And I was like, oh no. I went to bed that night. Sure enough, 3:33 in the morning, I got up again, boom. I looked and there it was again. So my aunt had transitioned when I was in the Olympics. And you can't come out because you have to be vetted by the FBI. You can't come out and, visit anybody and come back. So, and I don't like to do funerals anyway. So it really didn't matter to me at the moment, but I thought since I saw it, that might've been her getting mad at me for not attending her funeral or something. So at 3:33, there it was again. I did the cover thing. Then I said, okay, Cynthia, stop this. And so I pulled down the cover and I sat up in the bed and I looked at it and I said, and I talked to it like it was my aunt, but I know it wasn't. But I said, hi, Aunt Trita. I said, thank you for raising me. I said, I'm sorry, heard about your transition. I said, but I love you. Thank you for raising me properly, help raising me. And all of a sudden it just disappeared. Poof. Oh, okay. Wow. But then, and so I thought it was my aunt. Now I'm going to take you fast forward real quick to March of 2012. Okay. Now, in the meantime, from 2001 to 2012, I'm still getting up at 3:33 in the morning, but no orbs. Okay. March it was March the 9th, 2012. This is what I have proof of, and I can prove it. I can show it to you. So I have it on video. Anyway, it started on the 9th. I wake up anyway at 3:33. I went to the bathroom, and then I live in a townhouse, and I can see outside to the sky when I'm sitting on the toilet. And so I looked up there and I saw this big old orb, and I knew it wasn't the moon because it was too big. And so I ran to my patio door and I looked out and the moon wasn't there. So I said, oh my God, what is this now? So I went and sat on the bed like this, and I'm thinking, and I'm like, oh, but I didn't go back and look because I'm tripping. And so the next day, I didn't tell my business partner, Adi, who's like my sister also. We've known each other for 40 years. So I didn't tell her anything. I tell her everything, but I didn't know what she would think. So the second day I came home, I said, okay, now I'm talking to whoever. I said, okay, I think I know who you and what you are. I said, if I'm correct, could you please do this again tonight? And I'm saying, oh, Cynthia, you so crazy. You done lost your ever loving mind. Yes. So I had bought a Vizio camera for Christmas. This is March. I had never opened it. So I went to work, came back, and then I went on Facebook, and my son lives in Chicago. When I opened up Facebook, and Facebook's, they keep everything.
Yes.
Facebook, I looked at my Facebook. I saw a Facebook message from my son's best friend. He had a picture of the thing I saw the night before here in Texas. He opened up his back door and he says, oh my, and he took a picture of it. Wow. And he says, oh, they're Christians, so they think anything is an angel or whatever. So he says, oh, that's weird. He says, but that looks like an angel. I wrote on Facebook, no. I said, that's what I saw here at 3:33 yesterday in Texas. And I didn't know who this person was, but it was my son's best friend. Wow. Okay, so now I go to work And I tell Audie, I said, I have to talk to you about something. I told her the experience. This is day 2, okay? And so day 3, I come back and I say, okay, I now know who and what you are. I said, just show it to me just one more time. I plugged in my Vizio to get it ready because I never thought until I saw the picture that the guy took to take a picture.
Right.
Okay, so 3:33 in the morning, I hop up, I go to the restroom again, I look up, but before I look up, you know, I'm going through my changes, don't look up. And so I look up and there's 2 of them. I can say this, you know, I get up, I don't even wipe myself, pee's dripping down my legs. I'm running down the stairs with my camera, barefooted, and then I go like this, boom. Child, I have the best video show on the planet. There were 3 of them. One was bigger.
Wow.
He was right here. Because when I came outside, they knew where I was, because this way, when you look this way in my house, well, then it's on this sky. When I went out, I was like this, and they were right here.
Mm-hmm.
So the big one was going whoop whoop, and the middle one would go whoop whoop, and then the big one whoop whoop, then whoop whoop, and then the baby would go whoop whoop, and then the big one flies off this way, and the other 2 fly off this way. I have it on film. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
So,
That is amazing.
I had to tell you that because we got into it. But
Okay.
that's what we can
Thank
talk
you.
about in depth some other time.
Yes,
Wow.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to see that. That's
Oh yeah, I thought you would like that. Yeah, I'll send it to you, Richard. You know, so but anyway, back to what we need to be talking about
Yes.
is, you know, the you know, in addition to the publishing, we also have publishing in consciousness music, and that's another thing that I wanted to bring up, you know, as it relates to, you know, publishing, because a lot of the music nowadays is so detrimental to our youth and our health and all this other kind of stuff, discordant music that they've already changed the frequency from.
Yes.
But we do that, and there's a lot of it on activemoors.com. You know, a lot of our musicians and stuff like that, they've uploaded their music. So if anyone is interested in that, you can go there and you know, access that for free. Okay. And then as far as Moors collaborating, you know, we have a lot of expansion projects, such as Anything Moorish, as an example, opening a Moorish business, or, you know, websites and historical features and educational points as it relates to our babies coming behind us, because we have failed them. Okay, because look at what's going on in the planet today. You know, all this, like Linda and I were talking before we came on, it was like I was so stunned this morning when I saw NFL players on the screen crying, men crying about they're scared. And it shocked me to the core. And I was like, where are we?
Yeah.
I mean, what planet are we living on, you know? So, you know, we need to make sure that we change things for, you know, for our babies coming behind us, you know, and it starts with everything from, you know, self-love and self-esteem, I think. And because we've been beat down psychologically for so many years here on this continent, it's hard. You know, the brainwashing must end with us. Okay. Yeah. You know, and we need to figure out how to love every inch of ourselves, good and so-called bad, because I don't like to say the word bad, because there's no bad people. There is, you know, people that don't know better. Let's put it that way. You know, and, you know, and our babies are watching. And what do they have to, you know, grasp onto? Not very much. No. Okay. And I said that, you know, the Moorish Americans, for those who don't know, are the indigenous inhabitants of ancient Amexem, the land of Mu. So most people don't know what that is, but you can go and research it. I hope you guys are taking copious notes. Okay. In modern times, you know, Northwest Amexem, Amexem is called Northwest, the Southwest, and Central America, including the adjoining islands. You know, the 2 American Al-Moroccan continents and islands are the inherited lands of our ancient mothers and fathers. Okay, so most people have no clue about that. So you can also research all this too, and I would really like for you to do that. And I just said, you know, Moors, you know, there's a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of work to do. We are learning and teaching issues of Moorish history, culture, civics, which you don't get in school anymore. We barely got it. I'm an elder, so we barely got it when we were going to school. Science, law. We don't know anything about law. Heritage and descent, pedigree, parentage, all of that. Philosophy, astrology, cosmology, those were our ancestors' ancient gifts that were demonized. The witches in North Carolina, those weren't witches, those were Moors, and they didn't want the women, because I know my grandmothers, they taught us a lot of stuff, and I still have books on. So I know that it's not demon stuff, or they call them witches and stuff like that. No, it's when you know the earth and Mother Earth, and you're in tune with that, and you're grounded, and you have abilities. But we don't talk about that. Yeah. And
that's where the misinterpretation, the intentional misinterpretation of the word demon came from. It came from the word daemon, which means spirit of the earth.
Exactly. And democracy.
Yeah.
Hello. I don't want to get political, but
the prefix day is a reference to earth. So, and it's just along the way it got skewed in the wrong direction via propaganda.
Exactly.
It was mispronounced as demon, and all of a sudden that was something evil.
Yeah. See, but they do a lot of that. Even they use the Baphomet as an evil symbol too, and people don't know about the research on that.
Right.
Satanist people, they use our stuff for wrongdoing. See, so
as far as sorry, I just had to interject for a second. Sure. I found an anthropologist on YouTube. I don't know if it was divine intervention, but it wasn't by accident. And I absolutely love all of his information. He's based out of, I think, California. But if anybody wants to do some research, science-based, I would look up Robert Seffer on YouTube. He's got, one of his videos is Atlantis, Fallen Angels, and Archaic DNA.
How you spell his name, Linda?
S-E-P is in Peter.
S-E-P-E?
Yes, H-R.
H-R, okay. And he's
Robert
on
Seffer.
Robert,
yes.
Okay.
He is on YouTube. He's an anthropologist here in the States.
Okay.
And his videos are fascinating.
Great. I'm going to be all over those tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to get him to speak at our conference, but that's another story.
Oh, he will. If you can't get him, I will.
So, I mean, he basically says that the continent of Atlantis, when it disappeared, those that were there went to the Basque region, they went to the Celtic region, they went over to Africa, etc.
I heard all that.
Yeah. So, and he's talks about this. This is a science person. So there's a good place to start with him if you're very into science.
Oh yeah, I am. I love that stuff. Yeah. So picking up where I left off, action is the response Noble Drew Ali took. He took action, okay, when he was in form here. And he is and for those who doesn't know, he is the founder of the Old Canaanite Temple in 1913 AD, and which is 1333. That blew me away, okay? But see, we're all connected, and we just don't know how connected we really are.
Exactly.
And the Old Canaanite Temple emerged as the Moorish holy temple of science. Since 1928, the MHT of S has adopted as its corporate name the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Yes.
Okay, and it's called the Universal Moorish Movement. It's called the Moorish Divine National Movement of the World. Okay, so that's how we came to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, the next thing I want to say before I move further into this is that as of this week, I heard from someone, I can't remember, we were talking to somebody about, we are now on what they call a terrorist list. Okay.
Moors are on a terrorist list?
Yeah, Moorish Science Temple of America. So I'm gonna find out who did that, because if the KKK and the white nationalists and all those are not on the terror list, then we need to come off the list. So don't worry, I already got some things in works for that. Okay, because I'm not gonna have that.
No.
No, some people do some stupid things that does not make the whole pot black, or so whatever you want to call it.
I'm sure they're using my books for target practice in the shooting down there.
You better believe they are, Richard. They are definitely using that. But Noble Drew Ali's call to action was, come all ye Asiatic of America and hear the truth about your nationality and your birth. You are not Negro, colored, Black, or Ethiopian. Learn of your foremothers and forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Come and link yourselves back with the families of nations. So he told our people back then exactly what needed to be done. You have to have a nationality. Okay, most people don't understand what nationality is. And I've been fortunate enough, as of 2 years, and it's be 2 years this year, to be invited to a lot of the fraternities.
Oh, nice.
And I'm so excited and fired up. I went last year to the Literary Cafe in October. I've been invited back because I was talking to about 200 to 300 people.
Oh, okay.
And they had never, these are degreed or agreed, they call them degree, but we don't want to go into etymology right now. But they, degreed people never heard of nationality. So this is the game I played with them. And I'm gonna play it with everybody else so you know how to do it with people. First of all, I stood up there and I said, okay, since you guys never heard of nationality, everybody going, no. I said, raise your hand if you have a dog. Everybody raised their hand. I said, okay, what is your dog breed? They said, German Shepherd. I said, okay, what is your dog? She said, oh, I have a Chihuahua. And I said, what is your dog? She said, oh, I have a West Highland Terrier. I said, okay, now that's nationality. I said, who likes cake? Everybody. I said, okay, what cake do you like? Oh, I like chocolate cake. I like red velvet cake. I like German chocolate cake. I said, okay, good. Those are nationalities. Okay. And then they were like, oh, I get it. I said, but let me make a caveat here. I said, there are no such thing as Black people and white people.
No.
We are not crayons. Okay. I said, so here's where we're going to start. And then I went into my little spiel, and I tell you, they loved it. They absolutely loved it, and they're listening. So guess what? I'm back, and I'm jamming it in. Jamming it in today. I did get one author out of that. He lives his name is J.R. Ramirez. He lives in Hawaii.
Nice.
Okay.
He was not involved in the event. This goes to show you how synchronicity on the planet is. He was here in Hawaii visiting his friend. Walking down the street, we had this convention in a big church, one of the largest churches in Richmond, Texas. He saw all these cars. So, you're in a new place. He saw these people coming in. So he just walked on in with the people.
Oh my God.
and he was like looking around, and he sat down where my table was, but I was up speaking at the moment. And when I came back, he slid over. He says, oh my God. He says, I love you. He says, I understand what you're saying. I live in Hawaii. We're being inundated with our nationality from all these people, migrants coming over, and they're telling us we can't speak our regular language. And he just went on and on about his story. And I was so excited and thrilled. He was like, I need to talk to you really bad. I said, look, I'm in the middle of something right now. I said, but here's my number. Call me. I didn't expect him to call me. People say that all the time. But he called, and now, since last year, he's been writing his book. It takes some people years to write a book, but he's still working. I'm still working on his manuscript, but, he's coming along. And so I'm really excited about that.
Good. That's awesome. Yes, that's definitely synchronicity in action there.
So again, I just want those writers out there to know, if you guys are really anyone interested in writing, just let me know. Contact me at noble7publications@gmail.com. We can talk about it at a later date. But what I want to talk about is more is hidden in history. And I know, Richard, you can help me with this one.
I don't know why.
I have no idea why.
Oh yeah, you're gonna help me with this one. But, So again, before I get because I told you I wanted you to read something, but before I do that, I want to talk about nationality just a little bit. Most people want to know, who am I? Because most so-called Black people, or what they call two continents African Americans, really have no clue of our culture. It was not. It was stolen from us. It was taken from us, and we have never gotten it back. So, most have never wondered about who they really are, because the people that I was just speaking of, they were like, nope, don't know. I'm Black. You hear it on the TV every day. Black lives matter. Black lives don't matter in law. Black lives do not matter in law. So, and if you don't know that and you call yourself Black, then you are stateless. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a book on that. I bought some of these books out of here because as I was speaking, I wanted to be organized in doing it, but I didn't want to flip over my book. Where's the one about statelessness? But you can buy this book and see for yourself. You don't believe what I say. Hold on, let's see here. You know me, I got thousands of books here because I like to show people what to do and where to go to buy stuff.
Well, I think it's important that people read up on their history, the history that was really taken away from them and hidden for so long.
Yeah.
You mentioned something earlier, Cynthia, about reading, and at least, reading a book a month, 2 books a month. This might not be the first example to use for what you're trying to express, but you mentioned about how successful people read several books a month, right? Well,
yes.
I know for a fact, and I found out about this some years ago, that Bill Gates himself always puts aside a certain amount of time, maybe a month or 2 in the summertime. Once a year, he's got a huge stack of books that he saves specifically for that time.
I do too.
He spends that whole time away from the business, just reading those books.
Millionaire.
And when he's done, then his vacation time is over and he goes back to work. So yeah, I know that's true. The amount of books he read, the amount of books that George Lucas read before he did Star Wars is phenomenal. The research he did before he put those stories together, so this is all very true.
That is. But here's the book I was looking for: Nationality and Statelessness.
Okay.
Under international law.
Okay.
Yeah. So people can understand some things, because most people don't understand, since they don't understand nationality and what that means to them, and why we keep being, beat up and killed in the streets, because it's not against the law. And they keep hollering about, oh my God, police brutality. There's no such thing, people. It's police terrorism. And so if you're not using the proper words, they know we stupid. So then they go and treat us like we are. So quit doing that. Learn something. Learn what you're all about, and then stand on your square and get it done. Okay? Yeah. Because nobody's going to tell me who I am and who I am not. That will not happen on this planet.
Right.
I think it is, but it will not. So I know that when it's all said and done, I was put here for a specific reason, and I will accomplish that contract that I signed to come down here to do. So,
right.
And they know who we are. That's why they come and see us on occasion. Okay?
Exactly.
No.
Yes. So
I saw him last night.
Yeah. Well, I was just. Girl, you just took the words out. I was just going to say, see, I had a visit this week.
His eye is still bloodshot because they put they find some kind of laser in his eye. It's a long story. We'll tell you later, but
I know. You, girl, we know we're on the same page on that, but that's too deep for most people here. So we'll just keep going with what we're going to do here. But because I really want to get into reading, I want Richard to tell his side, according to what this is about, because I'm telling you, this is my book. My book. Okay, it is.
We only have 2 hours. Don't let him speak too much, please.
No, he won't. But he just have to validate something in just a minute. But I just wanted to say that, the active Moors, we're seeking to raise true self and consciousness among ourselves and our unconscious sisters and brothers. We want to bring them in a functional and beneficial manner, because that's why I'm speaking to all the so-called educated Moors, so that we can build. They have organizations of thousands and thousands of people. I was even invited to do a week's training at their convention, but COVID, so hopefully next year I can, do that. But Moors who know the science, history, heritage, and culture are obligated to teach these truths to our own, especially to those who do not know self and national birthright. Because most people say they have civil rights and all these other kind of rights. Well, civil rights are what? They're privileges. And so what can someone do with the privilege they give you?
Take it away.
Thank you. We're parents. We know that if you don't clean up your room, so yeah, we can take it away at any time. So until we understand the little foundational things about what it means to be Asiatic and a Moor, well, then we're going to continue along this dire path, which I'm hoping that we will wake up someday. We are working extremely hard to remove the artificially induced civil death which plagues our people. And and the sciences of our ancient mothers and fathers have been twisted, misrepresented, misinterpreted by slavers using subtle religious dogma, and we just strive to uplift our great principles and sciences of our ancient mothers and fathers, the founders of civilization. Our 5 principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And this is what our flag represents, the 5 stars.
You're right.
5 principles, so, we have a lot to, offer in the realm of knowledge as it, pertains to our people. We recognize the fact, that national constitution is the key to any national body. We know that the Constitution is the law of this land, and it's the Constitution for America, not the for the United States, not the Constitution of. Every state in this union has their own constitution, but it has to mirror and match the one, the real Constitution. Most people don't understand that. Each state is actually a country, because people say they live in America, and I ask them, what America do you live in? They look at me like I'm a ghost or something. What do you mean? I'm an American. I live in America. I was like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I do that because they don't get that. Because when I ask them what America and it's automatic for me now, I'll just say, well, what America do you live in? Because it's a teaching moment, So, I don't get belligerent, but I just ask them, I said, what America do you live in? And they go, so, so again, we instruct accordingly, and observing the divisions amongst the Moorish institutions, tribes, group, etc. We work diligently toward the toward the uniting of the Asiatic Moorish nation in our sovereign capacity. We are active Moors. Yes, we are, not passive. We're striving to live, a clean law and, in clean law and principles. Okay, so we must do that. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice all day. We make a declaration, a public declaration of our Moorish Moroccan nationality and birthrights. That's all you have to do. Some people out here selling packages like, I'm gonna sell you this paperwork, and poof, you're a Moor.
Yeah.
Poof. We are true inhabitants of the North Gate, period. Most people don't know what the gates are, but we'll get into that. That's too esoteric for some people today. Again, we honor our mothers and fathers so that our days are long on this earth plane. And that is something that my culture and my family has always done. We have honored our mothers and our fathers and our grandmothers and our grandparents. We have never put one in a home when they were aged. They lived and died in their own home, with the exception if they had to run to the hospital at the last minute and died in the hospital that way, but they were never in a home. No one. Okay, so that being said, until we learn those cultural things that we were about in the past that worked for us, then we will continue along this path. Okay, so again, my path and purpose in life is to leave a blueprint for the future generations, to regain lost knowledge of who they are and what's going on this planet. And I think until we really, get that down deep in our souls and our psyche, then, it's just too many of us that take that for granted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I just feel there's a need for a reconstruction of the mind.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, a lot of deprogramming.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and I always used to, say too that, if we don't tell our own story, we will be misrepresented again for hundreds of years. And then I said, let me remind everyone, it's actually been 20 generations, which equals 400 years.
Wow. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
And whenever I have a function, I always play Stevie Wonder's song, 1492, Misrepresented People. Y'all ever heard that?
No.
So anybody out there that don't know what Moors is, or you want to know that it's not a slang name or anything, listen to Stevie Wonder's song, 1492. That one, Misrepresented People. I'm not gonna sing because y'all be really go on then. Okay. Now, Richard, this is where I want you, because I mentioned that I wanted you to talk about the Moorish legacy. I know we're going to be talking about that in the next several weeks, but as it relates to what we're speaking about today, if you can expound on the Moorish legacy in the best book on the planet, well, then I would like to hear that, because I read this. I see
that.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Linda was going to say something
I just
first.
have to say something.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Honestly, if it wasn't for Richard explaining the whole Moorish legacy to me,
you wouldn't understand.
I wouldn't even know who I am.
See?
I have come to realize that I am a Moor myself, based on all of my background, and my DNA test just proved it recently. So
yes,
it was a eye opener for me.
See, well, it's information and research and knowledge that the people need, and so and we need to get that as a collective of people on this planet. We can't just ex-nay a certain group of people because we think one way or the other. It's that we all live on this ball of whatever, and we have no clue really about the ancient history that was left for us to know, but was taken and stolen by other entities, as well as benevolent beings that are still here on this planet.
Yes.
So don't be fooled about that. A lot of people are like, woo, 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 woo. No, it's the truth.
Well, I had that same experience way back in 2005 when I started this whole odyssey in New Jersey. There was a Native American in the audience from the Shinnecock Reservation, and he hadn't published anything with the Moor, the Mason, and the Alien. I still had Legions of Light, Armies of Darkness with me at that time. And he saw the picture on the cover. He's like, "Oh, I don't go near that. I don't associate with that." But he hung around because he thought he knew where I was coming from at that point. But he hung around, listened to the whole lecture. By the end of the lecture, he was the one clapping, coming up, shaking my hand. He says, "Now I understand." He says, "Now I see where you're coming from." He says, "Thank you." He says, he says, "You're the only one to make sense out of it for someone like me." And I've had that on both sides of the aisle. Old white people, Black Masons, Native Americans. They all come to it with a certain perspective, like, "Oh, white guy talking about alien abduction." And
that's the first thing they always say about you, and I have to correct them every time.
And then they're like, "Holy shit, he's talking about all this."
See, because they don't know who you are.
Yeah, I know.
See?
And that's why, it's the silent but deadly approach. So, but to expound on what you were saying, yes, the Moorish legacy represents the saving grace of the human race. for more reasons than one. We've had more than enough time to see what the pale skin has done to this planet. And there's no person of color and hue on this planet who would disagree with me on that. In fact, it's a Native American named Sonny Three Mountains from West Babylon, Long Island, who was the first to bring that up with me. I said, yeah, I know. I said, my mother was the first to say she knew she was a Native American in a previous lifetime, and she was embarrassed to come back as white. So, because of everything she learned about where things went with that for 500 years of genocide. And for me, it was a case of, there's a huge missing narrative in this thing called extraterrestrial intervention.
Yes.
And just like you said, you know, owning your own media, publishing all that, and owning your own narrative, all we were getting out of ufology and Ancient Aliens was strictly a white European perspective of Ooga Booga conspiracy. Okay. And I was like, well, that seems to be the predominant white gravitation towards, oh my God, they're violating my white privilege and white self-entitlement. It must be a conspiracy. Okay. Well, maybe you should come down a few pegs, all right? Because you're not that important. You're white, okay? And it doesn't go much further than that. But so that's the part where this book comes into play in 2005. All right.
There it is. Oh yes, that is.
Yeah.
Tell them about it, Richard.
Katie was going to put the picture up so they can see it better.
Katie, you can put it up better for us there, but because I sent them the picture.
Daryl, do you have that picture that you can put up that we sent to Katie? The picture of Noble Drawley. Thank you.
Okay, good. So they got it up there. Now that original yellow and orange cover is the original printing of the biography of Noble Drawley. Most people in the Moorish community don't know that. I think the only place you might still find people who know that book cover is Black and Nobel in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, I spoke to the guy there a couple of times. Yeah,
but
I'll call him.
It was so dense and massive that Peter Moon had spoken with Elihu Pleasant Bay, the author, and said, you know, why don't we kind of put something out that is more applicable to the general public and they can digest it a little better. But he gave me this one because he knew I was the only one who would actually sit down and ingest the whole thing with, you know, without batting an eye. And he said, this is for you. It was always meant for you. In time, you will realize that it was always supposed to be yours in the first place. And he said, Elihu Pleasant Bay is watching you.
Wow.
And when the time is right, he will contact you and discuss things further with you. So that's where that came from. There is also the original, this one I didn't send, but this is the original appendix. Okay.
Yeah.
That goes with it, which is pretty cool as well.
Oh yeah.
And that, because Peter Moon realized what I was getting frustrated about. I said, there's something missing here. There's this misguided, ignorant white narrative that's controlling everything. There's obviously a difference between the alien abduction phenomena and extraterrestrial intervention. They do not exist in the same, you know,
right,
the same story.
Right. Exactly.
There's obviously a huge dividing line between the two. And so once you start getting into the biography of Noble Drawley, you realize why. That a long time ago, you know, just to hit the bullet points, the pale skin was invented. And in doing so, it turned its back on the family of man, turned its back on Mother Earth, and sided with the corporate mentality of the Greys, the reptilian queens, and the Canis feudal lords, all of whom are ashy pale skin to begin with and represent the Walking Dead. Okay.
That's why they have the shows on. Remember, they always tell you a little bit. The Walking Dead.
The Walking Dead TV series.
Yeah.
The board.
Yeah.
Okay. Those are all zombies. They're all ashy pale skin. Even the black people who turn into zombies end up being sallow and pale skinned. There's no more black left in them. No more.
Exactly. Well, that's the story. People don't get it though.
And once that color was bled out of their skin, melanin, they severed their ties with the earth because there's a psychic power, a psychic capability that comes with that dark skin. That is not prevalent in the pale skin. Now, some people may say, well, what about, people who are pale skin and psychic? Well, Mother Nature always finds a way. That's called a mutation. Okay? So people who are pale skinned and psychic, that's Mother Earth's way of sneaking through the back door. All right? And saying, haha, surprise, I can still get in.
A little bit.
That's what will happen. But it's relegated to the Christ energy and the female principle, which I referred to in the book as the Christ energy and the vril power. Because of that separation from the soul, the spirit, and the mind, the lamp of illumination.
Right.
Because of that separation from Mother Africa, Mother Earth, and Mother Nature, the pale skin had nowhere else to go, because it backed itself into a very dangerous corner. And in those dark shadows of that corner, guess who was waiting in the wings? The bad guys. Okay? And they were like, oh, your dark-skinned brothers and sisters betrayed you. We can take you. We'll take you under our wing. We'll give you everything. And because they treated you so bad, which they didn't, but because that was already burned into their brain, because they've treated you so bad, we will give you all the technology you need to be above the law, superior to the planet, superior to any law, any constitution, and therefore go out with a vengeance and destroy the family of man. And this became known as the ancient vendetta. And that is why to this day, the pale skin is treated as above the law, superior to everybody else on a false European pedestal known as the Ivory Tower of Europe. Okay? And this is what created white America. And it's that privilege and self-entitlement that is now transformed into white fragility today. It all started with the ancient vendetta. And the idea is we will give you, just like university professors, as long as they keep their mouth shut, they're allowed to be indoctrinated with that PhD.
Oh, yeah.
Just like a Masonic lodge, if you keep your mouth shut, you're allowed to be a 33rd degree Mason, okay? And the same thing happened here. They said, if you want us to protect you, us being the Greys, the reptilian queens, the two-party system, okay? If you want us to protect you and put you on top of this false pedestal so that no one else can touch you, and you can dominate the planet with this shotgun politics that you use, then you must promise us that you will go out there and do two things: destroy the family of man, psychologically, emotionally, physically, okay, chemically, biologically. Okay, this is where the pharmaceutical industry comes into play, because they always target people of color and hue. All right. And you, from this point forward, you owe every generation from this point forward to us for experimentation. Henceforth, the beginning of the alien abduction phenomena with white people. So, and some people will come back and say, well, what about the Benny and Barty Hill case? I said, yeah, what about that? That's an exception to the rule that only reinforces my argument. So wake up.
Right. I read that many years ago.
Yeah.
About that, yeah.
So what? Find me another mixed marriage case.
Yeah.
show me how many black people are affected by the alien abduction as opposed to white people.
Yep.
Tell me why the alien abduction phenomena parallels this other absurd notion of demonic possession in white Christianity. Okay? Yeah, there's no such thing as demonic possession in blacks, Hispanics, or Native Americans. White people are the only ones that have problems with demonic possession, because all those demons are bipedal Komodo dragons. They are bipedal reptiles.
People don't know anything about them. They have
they're looking at it from this ignorant supernatural perspective.
Yeah.
That's just a higher form of science. Arthur C. Clarke said himself, extraterrestrial technology will be equivalent to magic.
It is now. Yeah. Remember, I, like I said, I'm old school. So I remember when it used to take 5 or 10 years to come out with some new technology. Now it's every 6 months.
Right.
Because they had it already, but they're just waiting to just push it out. Now they're pushing out that 5G stuff.
Now because of this trickle-down theory used by the two-party system and the corporate elite, the Greys have managed to sucker punch people in the Black, Hispanic, and Native American communities to preach the same crap as their white Christian counterparts. So now you have Native Americans talking about God.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell happened to you? Mm-hmm. You have black Christians who are radically defensive, like, I'm with Jesus. Well, which one? The black one or the white one?
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. I tell people that all the time. Whenever I travel, wherever you go, if you go to China or Japan or wherever, you don't see a white Jesus.
No.
You see a Chinese one or a Japanese one, and then you know who the Pope bowed down to, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll wait.
And then, of course, because there's no such thing as a pale-skinned prophet. Okay. And I've had even a good friend of mine who's a dyed-in-the-wool Roman Catholic. Mm-hmm. When I was visiting him in private, because he watches a lot of the Ancient Aliens programs and he knows what I'm into, he says, how do you explain this whole thing with Jesus as a Messiah? I said, well, that's where you need to back up a few steps. I said, there's no such thing as a Christ being a Messiah. Those are polar opposite enemies to each other. Messiah comes from the ancient word Messiah, which is a representation of the royal reptilian elite. Mm-hmm. But because they were so powerful and had superpowers because of their higher technology, they sabotaged the word Christ. Messiah becomes mispronounced as Messiah, and the Messiah becomes confused with the word Christ.
Exactly.
So there's a reason why the word messianic sounds a lot like Masonic. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, and so that's the first thing I had to teach him. And he's like, okay, I can accept that. I said, don't confuse those two terms. Christ is people of color. Messiah is white people. Okay? Messiah is alien abduction. Mm-hmm. Okay? So if you see a white Jesus coming off a UFO, run for the hills. Okay? Because that's no good. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing right there.
Oh, they're going to try it. Trust me.
Oh, I know they're going to try it.
They're going to try it.
I mean, the genetic cloning that they're doing, drawing upon the invisible college, what is George Lucas always promoting? Mm-hmm. The Clone Wars. And what was the significance of that? If you read the books, you'd know that there was a time when the Republic made a big mistake on trying to actually clone Jedi Knights that had been murdered.
Oh my God.
And by trying to clone them, they came out as a genetic erratic defect and homicidal maniacs that killed everybody. So this is what's happening here. They'll actually try to attempt cloning a Christ. I'm sure they have the DNA from Muhammad, Jesus, Buddha, Noble Drew Lee. I'm sure they have that DNA in a test tube somewhere.
Oh, sure they do.
Yeah.
They have it all.
So, here's their end goal is let's invent a Messiah and call him a Christ.
Mm-hmm. See, and they will do that because that's why they've been chemtrailing us too, and that's why they've been developing that technology of those what you call it holograms or whatever you call it. Yeah. So.
But that's, I hope that goes far enough for you there.
It does. It really does, and it gives people another perspective because we hear the same thing all the time, but we really don't go outside of that because most people don't really read other stuff, other than what they're accustomed to reading. So that's why I wanted you to explain that. And if they read your book, well, then they know. But if they haven't, well, and they need to purchase it because it's a beautiful book. I love that. I gave my son a copy of it today.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm, yeah, because we were talking about it, and I said, "Didn't I give you a copy of that book?" He said, "No, you didn't." So I said, "Wait a minute," because I always keep extra copies here. So if they're good people, then I give them a book. If not, well, you go buy your own. But yeah, so that was what I wanted you to explain because again, all of this sort of mirrors and matches, sort of blends together at some point. Okay, and I wanted to, if it's okay with everybody, I wanted to say something that Peter Moon allowed me to put into the book.
Good. Okay.
It's the Ali Shuffle by Peter Moon, and it'll just take me a minute to read some of this, but it will give another perspective for those who have not read his book, Montauk Book of the Dead, and he did that in 2005. And I think I can't remember. I think I reviewed it about last year on my show, but I just wanted to read it again just to quickly here. It says, it's called the Ali Shuffle by Peter Moon. Hey, Peter, I know you're probably watching. At the current time, the door to Moorish mysteries is opening far and wide. The age of Pisces has ended and the Moors are coming to receive their inheritance. Noble Drew Ali instigated this process when he returned to America and released a publication known as the Circle 7 Quran.
Mm-hmm.
While Drew Ali did not deliver the concise formula as was clearly delineated in a book by Peter Moon, you should get his synchronicity and the seventh seal. This is me speaking right here, okay? He represented the energy and was the energy of such. Drew Ali was very much a part of the mythos and reality that enabled me to write that book. What Drew Ali wrote was geared towards a format that would be accepted by his people at that time. It apparently worked quite well. When the Moorish science reached its peak in 1929, it was on the heels of one of the greatest but most dangerous discoveries Drew Ali ever made. In 1928, Ali attended a Pan-American conference in Havana, Cuba, where he enjoyed broad recognition from a host of other countries. They were, of course, recognizing his sovereign status as a Moorish national who was representing the ancient empire of Amexem.
Mm-hmm.
Keep in mind that other countries had no reason to fear Noble Drew Ali or what he represented. It was at this conference, however, that he received a document which was to change the face of Moorish science forever and would eventually lead to what is known as the Great Schism.
Mm.
That is the name the Moorish community uses to refer to the dispersal of Moorish science into different groups.
Yeah.
The document Drew Ali received was a copy of a mandate whereby the Amexem Empire extended a land grant of the entire Western Hemisphere to certain Europeans. I have not yet seen the document, and its exact contents are highly mysterious, yet its ramifications literally turned the United States of America upside down.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Essentially, at least, listen to this, people, grab your knickers, it leased America to a certain party for 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not unlike the way China leased Hong Kong to Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
The lease was up in 2004.
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay? It is entirely reasonable to believe that such document, if it still exists, can be brought to light, is a mere relic of a long forgotten era that has no significant meaning in today's legal system. That would be fine, except for one very important point. If you have truly studied and detailed legal history of the United States of America, you would understand that there is more than a little truth to the prospect of there being such a document. Mm-hmm. Why? The entire legal history of the United States is predicated on such a proposition. What is known is that Secretary of State Hughes from the US government attended the Pan American Conference and was made privy to this mandate. So were several other heads of state. A labyrinth series of discussions and negotiations began. The Geneva conferences went on for some 5 years, but records are sealed to this very day. And you know, a lot of the information in, all the congressional records are redacted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I told people today we can find out what's under all that black redaction. Remember they did that recently with all these things that were going on with all the Trump stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can see that now. I want to get some of it. We can find out what that said. The Geneva conferences went on for some 5 years, but records are sealed to this very day. It is known that several international banks called in their loans as a result. Yes. This potential legal threat, and the stock market crashed in 1929.
That was big. That's what caused the Great Depression. Was
exactly. And people don't know this little tidbit of information. Mm-hmm. Hey, Morris, how you doing? You know, several countries, which included the United States, Portugal, France, and Spain, declared bankruptcy in order that relevant powers could buffer themselves from any potential legal claims.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. In the case of the United States of America, it was recognized with a new corporate legal status. Franklin D. Roosevelt was part and parcel of the entire plan when he abolished the gold standard and created the New Deal. Mm-hmm. Federal Reserve notes, which you carry in your pocket, you think it's money, you'll kill somebody over a paper dollar. were then issued in place of gold-backed currency. The Great Seal of the Moors was used on the back of the notes, which is still there today.
Okay, yeah.
And people want to call it the Illuminati and ooh. No. One side is Moors and the other side is whoever, okay? People, let's see here. People behind the Geneva Conference were so concerned about any potential boomerangs from the Moorish issue that they began a full-barreled character assassination of Moorish heritage. The first flagrant example of this was when two master masons put together the infamous Amos and Andy show. Anybody old enough to remember that? And it became the first nationally syndicated radio show in history. It was deliberately designed to spoof the Moorish Science Temple by lampooning them as the mystic order of the Knights of the Sea.
Oh, yeah.
And callously referred to them as sardines.
Oh, yeah.
From one perspective, this can be viewed as hysterically funny, especially when you consider that the dignitaries were given titles with malicious act of intent designed to portray any Moor as the most laughable example of what could be termed the lowest common denominator. Not long after Amos and Andy had its national debut, Drew Ali was arrested and mysteriously died. This has been ignored by both history and conspiracy books. When you see how intricately connected the Moors are to the history of the world, let alone the United States, you see that they are a guidepost to the true history of the planet. This is the lamp of illumination.
Yes, and in the biography of Noble Drew Ali, he points out why the word sardine was used as a slander, because sardines are crammed into a can. They have no nationality. They're not any one particular fish.
Right.
It's a mix of multiple different kinds of fish, and when you open that can, you really don't know what kind of fish you're eating.
Exactly.
So that was a slander towards Moors, saying, "Oh, you have no nationality. You're in a can."
Yep.
Yeah.
And they still do that to this day. They have the Mummers Parade. Anybody? You ever heard about that?
The what
Mummers
parade?
Parade. The Mummers Parade.
Mummers.
Parade. It's in Philadelphia every year. Look it up, Google it. And that's where they ride the little Corvettes with they dress up like us, like our national dress, with the fezzes and the clothes, and they ride around in these little Corvettes, Yeah, Google that. Yeah, that's something you can Google now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Mummers Parade.
But, it's got, it's gotten so bad to the point where over the years, I've even heard a few, for lack of a better term, black news reporters, black editorialists for newspapers say, they're sick and tired of hearing this crap about the Moorish legacy. I'm not a Moor, I'm a black American. I'm like, I wish I could shove my books up your ass right now. Really good. You ignorant jackass.
But you see what we're up against.
Yeah.
And you know who runs all the Black Lives Matter as well. And you know how they're trying to convolute that so that they, with other groups.
Sarah Fidel set it up too.
George Soros, he funds all that, and you know who he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, so I was curious, on behalf of the audience, how would you, I know you've been talking a lot about it, but how would you specifically define the phrase Moorish science? How would you define that if somebody asked you?
Well, for me, to keep it simple, I would say, Moorish science is learning about who the Moors are, what our nationality is, the functionality of all the information, because it goes deep into, like I said in the beginning, it goes deep into various things. It goes into law, it goes into civics, it goes into philosophy, it goes into astrology, cosmology. All these things that we lost, I consider as Moorish science, okay? And that's why it was named Moorish science in the beginning. When Noble Drew Ali came on the scene, he named it Moorish science because of that, because we are scientists. We are knowledge people. We knew everything there was about the earth. Yes. We knew everything about the sea. We knew everything about just about everything. We are the original people. So yeah, so in a simple terms, and I try to keep everything simple because again, this stuff is so convoluted and so much information that you can't digest it in one setting, and you can't digest it by just telling people something. You have to give that information. You have to lead and be there as a trainer, or and they have to be a student, of course, and have to want it, and be able to digest some of the information. What I have a problem with is that we don't have enough collective intelligence to coming together and sitting down and saying, okay, y'all, it's been 100 years. What are we going to do? If something is true for me, it's true. If it's not true, then it's not true. So this is true. So let's uncover that. Okay. Now we know that when we do that or try to do that, then we're going to be blown up or killed or whatever. Okay. Well, are you willing to risk that? Are you willing to die? My favorite saying is, a good day to die, because I don't believe in death. Okay. Number one. And I'm not going to be silenced by anyone on this planet. I will not. Okay. So that being said, I always try and tell people, if you have a question, ask it. I have book lists. When people approach me, I said, here, start with this. When you finish this book list, call me, because then I know you're serious. But I'm not going to waste my time, my energy, my breath on, talking, and not doing anything. That's why we're into active mores now. Mm-hmm. Okay, active meaning that Noble Drew Ali, he left the narrative, telling our stories, our truth, and how these things would impact us, and bring us closer together as a nation of people. So how come we can't do that? Instead of bashing each other, come together. And if you're so intelligent, like I said in the beginning, and you know some things, and I know some things, hey, we know a lot of things. So why come we can't organize those things so that everybody's on the same page? The problem with everything now is that this group has this ideology. This group says, no, Noble Drew Ali said this. This group says Noble Drew Ali did that. No, Noble Drew Ali did one thing. He told you exactly what, but we want to mix and match things. And that's where I think the problem is. And then some people, they want to get into the movement because of things, material things. They heard about, oh, well, this is ours, this is that. And then they want to get in just for material things. This is why this book is non-traditional. It has no chapters. Why? Because that's what most Moors want to know. How can I pay my light bill for free? How can I get a car? How can I get a house? That's not what this is about. If we get into our own, then we can have those things will be given unto us. Mm-hmm. But see, but right now, what are you worrying about that for? If you owe a light bill, pay it.
Yes.
Okay. Don't be trying to send it to somebody to pay, and then you're going to go to jail 2 years later because they're going to catch up with you just because they didn't send you another bill because you kept worrying the heck out of them talking about they're going to pay it. They just wait and save it and come and rest your butt. So again, this book here was just filled with, when I put it together, it was just a lot of knowledge and information. The author is brilliant. And I just put it together.
Yeah, I look forward to reading that book. Yeah,
and it's amazing book with information. That's what it is, just information. And the reason I didn't put any chapters, because you know how people do. They go to the front of the book and they go, chapter, I want to buy a car.
Yeah, I know.
Boom, and then like we said, they never touch the book again.
I hardly ever bother looking at the. I do, but me, I just jump right into the introduction.
Me too. I didn't read your I have never read your chapters. Let me go see what that's. No, I just read. I open and start reading the foreword, then I go to that, then I go to I don't read. That's just something I don't do. Unless it's a research book.
You got to make sure you read an author's introduction book too. People skip over the introduction.
Oh, I don't.
That usually lays a great foundation for what's to come. You know?
Well, I read yours. Yours was really good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Noble Drew Ali had said too, and I'm using this quote in the third book I'm working on. He says, "If I could just get you to remember or know who you are, you wouldn't need me anymore."
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
Exactly. So again, I was always told, never expect other, cultures to represent, our culture and history, because, they're not going to do that. Okay. They're going to represent their own and misrepresent ours. So, we have to understand that, it's our individual rights and duty and obligation, you know, to always protect and nurture, you know, our own heritage and culture. And the sad part about that statement is that most people don't even know our culture. You know, because if you're Black, where is Black culture? What is Black culture?
Yeah.
You know, you're not Black. I mean, you saw the colors of, you know, Black is my hair. That's Black. I'm not Black. You know, and then we were colored. See, I'm old enough to be all of them. When I was born, I was colored. Then I was a Negro. And then in the 80s, you know, with what's his name? James Brown, we were Black and we were proud. That's when that started. But see, James Brown never said that. He would just say it loud. Everybody, I'm Black and I'm proud, you know. So he never said that. So that stuck. And then come, you know, in what was it, 1986 or 1985 when what's his name came up with African American, 2 continents we were, you know. And I think what so-called white people think is that we all came over here on a boat. See? And that's why Columbus Day is being ex-nayed out the picture, because they know the truth and it's coming out. And so now several, I think, states as of last year or the year before even stopped celebrating Columbus Day. We still do it down here in Texas because, you know, this is the South. They believe in Columbus.
They don't do it here in New Mexico.
Well, I know they don't do it in some other states too, up north, but down here they still do. They still.
You try bringing Columbus Day to a Native American res, you'll come back in a body bag. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, because they know it's not true, and all the stuff that was, you know.
Realize what he did to all those indigenous people in the Caribbean.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's been all over the world. We've been just dogged down, and you know, we just need to come up and rise into our power and just fight back. And once we do that, I think it's going to be on our side. I really and truly do. But we really got to start to stand on our square and really, say, hey, look, you know, and go and say what's true and what's not. Because see, what's happening is we have those two political parties. The Demos and the Republicans, and there's 50% of the people in the country on this side and 50% of the people on this side. We'll never get it untied, you know, and that's just mathematically the way it is. 50-50, okay, one's gonna win, so 50% of the country is mad, and you know, so we're not coming together or uniting at all. So I don't know how that's going to end, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do and put the truth and the word out here as best I can, and still learn along the way. And you know, do that. You know, like I said, you know, Noble Drew Ali gave us our narrative. All we have to do is follow and make sure. And people know who we are. They pretend that they don't. You know it. They know who we are. Yeah. So I'm just looking forward to that day. When, you know, as active Moors, we start to, you know, rebuild our infrastructure so that we can, you know, really be recognized in who we are. And in the meantime, in order for anybody out there that want their nationality, it's just simple. You just do Act 6. Do what Noble Drew Ali said do. It's proclaim your nationality. Look up the word proclaim if you're not understanding what that means, okay? And read Act 6 and you're there. You know, and if you want to get some paperwork with a seal on it, go for it. But I'm just telling you, you know, until we get it together, that's all it is. You proclaim who you are and know who you are and stand on that. But it's a learning process. You just can't say, oh, I know I'm a Moor and here I go with my paperwork. They could care less. He told you to quit flashing your cards to people because they don't know who you are. And we get angry when we go and, you know, try to put paperwork in the clerk's office and stuff, and the clerks don't know who you are, and they look at you like you're crazy. So then they complain, and then that's how we get on a terrorist list, because they get mad because they don't want to do what they're mandated to do in filing paperwork the correct way. They're the county, they're supposed to do that by law. But see, most people don't know how to stand on their square when they get in there and they're being refused, you see. So a lot of little stuff like that is happening, you know. So I think it's going to work out. I'm not worried about that. It's going to work out. Another thing I want to do right quick is to share some books with some the people here. And I'm going to start doing a series on this, because I think that so-called white people, they're so indoctrinated into the privilege. They never had to worry about anything, so they don't give a crap. But here, let me show you something. It says the complete book of immigrants from 1700 to 1760 to 1750. Now I have the other one. I loaned it out, which I never hardly do, but I did loan it out. It's the 1600s. Now in that book, they have every single name and date of the person that was sent over here as a felon, a rapist, and they always call us thugs and stuff. No, you major thugs right here. Look, every boat that they came on, what they did, what they're sent to the colonies for. And then you get people that stands up and think that they're all that in a bag of chips. No, you're not. Look at your ancestors too. Okay, quit debasing us and know who you come from. This book right here, The Legal Status of the Negro. Oh my gosh, you got to read this one, Richard. You'll flip on that one.
Okay, I got to get that.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'll write it down for you. Don't worry.
Okay.
The History of White People. Look how thick that is.
What's the name of it?
The History of White People by Neil Irvin Painter.
Oh wow. Okay.
Have you heard of this one?
No.
Okay, well I got some stuff for you, my brother.
Okay.
White trash.
White trash.
Yeah,
Yes.
have you heard of this one?
No, but I know the term.
Okay. You're so crazy. I love you. The 400-year untold history of class in America. Okay. And that's by Nancy Eisenberg. Okay. And then everybody knows this one.
I got to read all these books.
Nature Knows No Color Line. Okay. So right here, and of course, that's J.R. Rogers. I have all of his books. And then here's another one that'll shock so-called white people. Bound with Iron Chains.
Oh, yes.
And this is all the white slaves, or what they called slaves. They call us slaves. White slaves that came over here that was working on the plantations with the so-called, I hate to even say it, but we're gonna say it, black slaves. Okay, but this, okay, and then I have White Fragility. It's on the floor.
That's what I'm.
Oh, I know which one I want to show you. Hold on. I have to get it. It fell on the floor. This one and this one. And White Fragility. Sorry, it fell on the floor. I have so many books, it's pathetic. My whole house is a book.
That's good.
Okay. All right. Well, you know about White Fragility, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you got that one.
Some of my favorite quotes are in that book. Linda knows.
I love it. Yeah, I love this book. Oh, and what I want to say too, and I want to give a caveat to all my so-called white people. They know they ain't white because they know me. But they what's his name? The Floyd guy when he was there. George Floyd. Yeah, I don't watch TV, so you have to forgive me. George Floyd, when he was murdered, they would text me and they asked me for books that they could read to understand. I was like, whoa, and that had never happened before.
Oh,
and
wow.
they know I'm a reader, they know everything, and I talk to them, they just go, uh-huh. But after George Floyd was killed, they sent me text messages and said, Cynthia, can you give me a list of books I can read to help me understand what's going on? I said, my pleasure. Oh, I sent text and text and text. I know they reading somewhere. Oh, and this is one on nationality, birthrights, and jurisprudence, which is a good book to get into. Oh, now, and here's the other thing I wanted to mention too, right quick, is I don't know if you have heard of this, the Wilmington's Lie. These books are books about history, hidden history that most people don't have a clue about. And what it is about a town it happened, the murderous coup of 1898 and the rise of white supremacy. And what they would do is, since the slaves were, making money, they were in their communities and they were wealthy, then the jealousy overrode most of the so-called white people, and they would come in and destroy towns. Most people learned about Black Wall Street, but they never heard of Wilmington's Lie.
You say it's just like Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And most Black people, so-called Black people, they don't even know about Black Wall Street. Half of them, they've never heard of that. Yeah, and that's pretty sad. But this is the plight where we're in right now. is that we don't know our history and our culture.
If you go to those towns like Wilmington or Tulsa, anyone left of that older generation, they still walk around like in an emotional coma because they still can't believe that what happened actually happened because they were
PTSD.
Yeah.
They have PT. We as a group of people, we have PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why I think when I saw the guys crying this morning, I lost it because I was like, what? I mean, these are grown men in 2020. They're professional men, and they were just like, I'm scared.
You obviously don't know your history then.
Yeah, that's why I said, so we have a lot of work to do, and I'm glad that I'm part of it. And here's another one that I don't know if you've ever seen before, Richard. This one is 1919, the year of racial violence.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and it's a pretty thick book as well. Yeah. Good book. And then this is one that I published. Okay. And it's one from one of my authors, Divine Simplicity. Okay. I'm more than a crayon. And this is the author's son right here. And this is the author and his mother on his first book. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Yeah, so now this is what I'm talking about. We have to start doing generational building up of our babies so they know who they are. They're not Black, they're not colored people, they're not African Americans, they're not Ethiopians. They're none of that. They have a nationality. So this child here will grow up, my Grammy babies know who they are. They have their fezzes, they know who they are, they can recite the Holy Quran and the Moorish American prayer. They can do everything because we're telling them who they truly are. And I don't want it to take another 100 years. We can't afford that. So something has to change.
So if an uneducated person was to come up to you and say, well, what's your nationality? What do you tell them?
I tell them that I'm Asiatic first and foremost as a race, and I'm Moorish American.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm. That's what I tell them. And I ask them, what is your nationality? And if they say American, then we got things to talk about.
Yes.
You know what my next question gonna be?
Yeah.
Which America?
You know what I mean?
Those books, are they all on buythisbooktoday.com?
No, just this one right here, and my Black People Are Dead in Law.
Okay. All right.
And then I have what I'm doing on that too, because I'm building an empire.
Yeah.
I like I told you, I want to get your books on there. I got you on there because you're my brother, but I want to get your books so that people that want to buy your books, when they come onto my site, they can order the books from you. UFOteachers.com. We talked about this, and I'm going to get Peter Moons on there. I want to get everybody. I have 3 new clients this week. One just saw me for 5 minutes. I was trying, Richard, you got to help your sister out. I was trying to do a Facebook Live because I never done one, and I was trying to bring my author on, and oh my God. And I practiced, and I couldn't get him on. After I clicked to notify him, he clicked okay, but I didn't see where to get him to join. But so I just need to get my speed up. I'm used to being in a studio, so I have help. I have an engineer, I have my producer, and I don't have to do anything but come and learn what I have to do and say it and get out of there.
Okay.
So, I don't know how to do the Facebook Live, and I wanted him to. I don't like doing phone interviews because people can't see the people's face.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and so I like to do, like we're doing now, so that we can see each other and we can sort of interact. It becomes natural and normal, and so I'm trying to get that under my belt. My daughter, she came over and showed me on Thursday, so I was comfortable because me, I'm not going to get on if I'm not comfortable. So she showed me. She said, "Mom, here's how you do it." She text me, the instructions. And so I had that, and I texted to him, and he said, yeah, I know how. So I said, okay, great, we're going. So I did about 5 minutes by myself going. Mm-hmm. And I hate that. I hate that. It looks so unprofessional, like, wait a minute, I see you.
Cynthia, do us a favor.
Yeah.
You have a chance today, or at some point, send us a complete list of the books you recommended on the show today.
Oh, absolutely. I'll do that today. Matter of fact, in this book here, I even made a book list for everybody. They didn't even have to go and look for nothing, because this is more like a reference book anyway. Okay. The information, see here,
Oh, good. Okay.
I have all Exhument of a Nation, the Holy Bible, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, Webster's New World Thesaurus, 1828 American Dictionary of English Language. If you can get one of those, please, because Webster bought all the Random House and all these other dictionaries in 1933 or 34. If I'm not, don't hold me to the date, okay, or the year, I should say. But they bought them all up, and so then they started changing, like what's black and what's white and stuff like that. You know, they started changing different definitions of the word. So if you can get that 1828, which I have upstairs, 1828 dictionary, get it, and it has the proper definitions for, you know, certain words.
Oh yeah.
What dictionary? You have an old dictionary.
I have one from 1956, and I go back to that just to see how things were originally being defined at that point, because I know every 20 years they put out a new dictionary.
Yeah, but see, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, they combine corporations. You know, just like the TV. There's only 6 corporations that own all the media. The television, you know, that's why I don't watch it. When I was growing up,
we don't have real TV in our house.
Yeah, I just keep it for my dog. I don't, you know, when I go to work. And I watch it sometime on the way out and be going, you know. But yeah, you know, the 6 corporations when I was growing up, before they became 6 corporations and there was, you know, different channels of TV and different owners, then I could watch one channel, then I could turn it, like say if I'm watching channel 2, I could turn to channel 11 when channel 2 went to commercial and find something new on channel 11 and vice versa. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. See, now what goes on got to synchronize.
Yeah.
So when we're on channel 2 and commercial, I go to channel 11, it's commercial. Channel 13, commercial. See? and all of them are talking like we're talking now. And then if you turn to channel 11, I'll say, as we talking now, you know, it goes on like that. So they are scripted.
Yes.
So the news is scripted now. So that's why I don't watch it, because I don't believe a thing I see on TV ever. So I don't watch it. Yeah.
Talking about dictionaries and words changing every 20 years. There's a quote I used in the second book. It was in relation to the word corporation and the definition of it. Older dictionaries, like the ones post World War II, post Mussolini, pointed out the true definition of a corporation and corporatism as being one and the same as fascism, because Mussolini invented both terms in the same sentence. He says, fascism is what I do, but a better word for it is corporatism. They are one and the same.
Yeah, one and the same.
By the time the 80s came along, the mid 80s, when the next generation of dictionaries came out, there was a corporation that bought Merriam-Webster's dictionary, and they struck out the word fascism from the word corporatism so that the two couldn't be associated with each other anymore. And therefore the word corporation was sterilized. So yes, that's the one. The second one, I put that quote in there, book 2.
Yep. Book 2.
I put that quote in there just to show how whoever owns the history books, including the dictionary, gets to rewrite history and redefine the words.
Yep.
So
every time.
Why is, in the context of this conversation, why is the word black defined as grim, evil, morbid, and white is defined as purity, goodness? Okay.
Yeah, white. Yeah, the purity. Oh, angelic, and
yes.
But and if you live long enough, even if you don't ever read a book in your life, I mean, if you're awake and you're not one of those zombies walking around here, then you should be able to figure that out for yourself. But unfortunately, millions of people have not.
Right.
And this is why we are still where we are today. Yeah. So it's going to take a constant. And if anything else, like I said, I'm building an extensive library. By the time I transition off this planet, trust me, I'm leaving this thing, you know, all these books I have upstairs, a whole room full of books, over maybe 2,000 books. Me and Bobby Hemmett, I love Bobby Hemmett. I know Bobby Hemmett, by the way. And Bobby Hemmett, he loved me because I would always call and ask him a question. And, you know, he cursed like a sailor, and he'd be like, I have all these books. They're all over the place. Just stack them up on the floor. I stack them up. I'm like, Bobby, I said, but, you know, I just want to talk to you about some of these books, because he can remember the title of a book. I can't remember a title of a book. If I read it once, I got to look at it 10 times. He can tell you the title. Have you ever watched Bobby Hemmett?
I don't think so, no.
No, you please do. You have got to watch Bobby Hemmett because of who you are and what you have experienced. You have got to, he knows all the ancient ancestors by name.
Okay.
You will freak out. Linda, you too. You got to watch Bobby Hemmett. He has, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of videos, but he goes really deep into all of his teaching. And I used to I have maybe about 10 or 12 journals of Bobby Hemmett. Yeah.
Nice.
I
Right.
journal a lot. Yeah. So,
Okay. But there's one thing you haven't had a chance to talk about. I know you want to bring this up, is taking this into the 21st century social media atmosphere. You have activemoors.com, the network for the Moorish community, social media network.
I joined, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw you on there. Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about before I left the thing. You know, activemoors.com is a social media platform where Moors can go and not be harassed or put in what they call Facebook jail. I thought that was pretty cute. You know? Oh, we're going to put you in Facebook jail because you said yada, yada, yada. And we don't like it. You feel me? Yeah. So, but yeah, the activemoors.com website, I mean, it is absolutely stunning. Just go to activemoors.com. You can see the Moorish guide there. You can also, that's free guide. I mean, it would take you years to go through all the information that's on that site.
Oh, yeah.
But most of it's free. The music, like I said, most of the music there you can just download for yourself. And you know, just go there and just peruse around. I mean, we need to get our own stuff, and we get so tied into other people's stuff until we get our own, and then we want to diss it, or, oh well, you know, we can't do this or we can't do that. Well, yeah, because nobody's supporting it but the man Jonathan Bey, who has spent his life, because I've known Jonathan for years, even when he first started it. But nobody would go on it because everybody was used to Facebook.
Oh, okay.
You see, but activemoors.com has the Moorish guide. It has a couple of books on there for free that you can download. He has already come on board with Noble 7, so I will be uploading 2 of his books for ebook downloads.
Okay.
And so you know, people just need to, you know, support. That's all. And I was so excited and so thrilled, you guys. I want to thank you guys that are listening that did go and sign up. And yeah, it's going to take us a while to get used to the different platform. Yeah. But guess what? We got used to Facebook.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, we just have to be you know, patient.
But you gotta get used to Facebook every 60 days now. So
yeah, me too. I was gone for 2 months, and except for liking something, I'll like it and get off. You know, I just can't take the negativity longer.
Cynthia, I just wanted to pull out these 2 books here. This is something that I think people would be very interested in reading. Maybe you know this already. It's called The Moorish Essence of Pensacola, and it gets into the cultural architecture. It's by Jeremy Samuel. It's this one here.
The Moorish. Hold on, the Moorish. Let me get my pen ran out of ink here. Let me get a pencil. Okay, the Moorish
Essence of Pensacola. It's in Florida. So
okay.
By Jeremy Samuel.
Okay.
And here's one that I know you and everybody else probably already knows about, but it's one of my all-time favorite books. It's Stolen Legacy.
Oh, is this it?
That's probably, yeah. It's by George G.M. James.
Yeah.
So
this is the cover. Yeah. See. Yeah.
So that I would recommend everybody read.
Oh
too.
yeah, it's a must. That and Nature Knows No Color Lines. And also this one right here.
You want my dog tags in here?
Oh yeah, mine too.
Yes.
Oh, you know, we do that. And then this one, the first Americans were, they say Africans, but you know how they go. You know, African is a continent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, we'll have some people get on there, and this is what I don't understand, is that when people, like I said, it goes back to a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Some people will say, well, you know, so-called black people had slaves, and so the Africans sold slaves. Well, yeah, but you don't know the whole story behind all that either, because some of that story is that the Africans that were bought on those boats, the Africans that allowed them to come thought they were coming for paid work and they were going to be bought back. That was some of the story. And then the other story was, yes, some of them were sold. But that does not mean that all melanated people came from Africa. Okay, my question, and I always ask people, well, where are all the slave ships? I'll wait. Mm-hmm. You know why I asked that question? Because they can show me the daggum ark, supposedly. Mm-hmm. Where the ark was, you know how they do? Yeah, and they can show me thousands of years of boats from the pharaohs and all that kind of stuff. Okay, yeah. And then plus on that, if you know numerology and, you know, common sense, how are they gonna, you know, they didn't have a motorboat. Yeah. People had to row. Now, if you're down there beating people to death and they down there throwing up and peeing and pooing on everything, you think they're gonna be able to be well enough to row a boat? Mm-hmm. No, see, so we don't know. We need to get straight on a lot of stuff. And no, they did not bring all melanated people over here. We were already here. We had tribal, if you look at some of the old maps and the names of the states today, if you look at some of the old stuff, they were all Moorish names.
Oh yeah.
You know, so where did that come from? And then some of the architecture still here is Moorish architecture, especially in Florida.
Yeah. Just look at the state Alabama. It starts with Al. Mm-hmm. Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah. And people don't know how to research, so they don't see these things and they don't know. And if you don't know something, then you just go by what your mama told you. Yeah. It's the same thing I used to tell my sons when they were growing up and going into puberty. You know how men are. So I would always tell them, you know, be careful what you're doing. I said, because you're going to be bringing people down here on this planet that you don't know nothing about.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm a true believer that we come down here and we pick our parents who we want to be for the experiences that we need in order to grow. Mm-hmm. So, and I know my mom, she validated that for me. My mom said she had me. She don't know where I come from. That's why when you see me say, I love you to Zircon and back, that's the sentence I used to tell her. I said, I'm from Zircon. She looked at me like I was crazy, but she allowed me to be me.
Yes. Yes.
See, she allowed me to be me. And I think down deep, she knew something. I don't know what it was, but my mom knew something about me because my mother always allowed me to be me. She would just laugh and giggle about it. But she would say, I don't know where you come from.
My parents
I've always been my own person.
And the benefit to that was that when I came of age, mm-hmm. and I had my first awakening, and as the years went on from like mm-hmm. 1991 to 2005, in that time frame, mm-hmm. I was able to come back to my mother and answer a whole bunch of questions that she could never answer for herself. Mm-hmm. And she said, thank you. She says, this is all finally making sense now.
See? And people don't get us, but that's okay, because I'm good. My circle is very, very small. I can count them on 3 fingers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. Seriously. I don't hang out with people because I do my thing. I do my work. I help people all the time. I'm involved in a lot of community stuff. Before the COVID thing came out, I had already contacted schools. I'm gonna be bringing in some children's books, you know, melanated children's books to the schools, and you know, doing some readings for them, as well as, you know, doing some more melanated book clubs across the country. I think that is where we can really start with the books. They saved my life.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you, because you know our show, we're doing it today for you because
yes,
you plans ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
We are switching to Saturdays.
Yes.
Are you available any time in September?
Well, that's what I'm looking for now, my schedule, and I was going to text you later on that. See what I can do since I own my own business. I work on Saturdays, but I can always schedule myself off on a Saturday. So that's not a problem.
Okay.
You know, so I just had, since you did it so quickly, I hadn't done it yet.
Oh,
So,
no, no. So I'm asking you because another good friend of ours, Greg, who actually was on our show not too long ago and then got his own show recently. He's on now. I don't know if he wants to unmute himself.
Hey, Brother Seraph. See, you're here with us.
Greg, where is he?
He's my brother from another mother.
Oh,
Anyway,
hey, I see him. Hey, how are you?
Peace, family. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
listen to what I have a proposal on because this is what we're going to do for September. We're going to take 3 Saturdays in September and dedicate it to the Moorish legacy.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you and Greg and whoever else wants to join us for the 3 Saturdays in September,
I'm in. I'll make sure I'm in.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I need me one of those mics.
Moorish Queen broke it down, so I'm in.
Yeah, and we can get a little bit deeper because then we can bounce off, other knowledge, and too that he understands what I'm saying, but we can get a lot deeper. You know what I'm saying?
Well, again, the people that know me know that I didn't know nothing about the Moorish paradigm until like 2006. And I ran into Hakeem Bey, aka Moor.
I know who he is.
Oh my God. And then I ended up talking to Sabir Bey and Taj
Tariq,
Oh, and his son Hannibal and Abdullah. Oh.
Your head was like,
oh, right. But now with everything that I'm coming into on a esoteric place, it kind of makes all of the historical Moorish information almost obsolete. It's almost useless.
Yes, see, and that's what I was talking about in the beginning when I said, I entered in the astrology and the cosmology, because without astrology, forget about it, okay? Because that's one of the things that our ancestors was very, very proficient at. Absolutely. And we knew everything. Like my grandmother always told me, in order to ground myself, to walk barefoot out in, on the grass, or she would tell me to bury my feet. Have you guys ever heard of that? Yeah. See,
grounding.
Yes.
What that is right there? What that is?
Oh, you know what?
I know.
Don't start with me.
Don't start. It won't be none.
Yeah. You got your shoes on?
Oh no, I'm barefoot up in here.
Me too.
Right.
So if we can get Sabir and Hakeem, because I'm.
Oh God, yeah, Sabir will really take us in.
Oh, he'll take us all the way in.
Take us in.
No doubt. From Philly too, he'll go all the way in.
Oh yeah, I love Sabir. That's my brother.
Turtle Island. What's his name?
Norris.
Norris. We need to get Norris on here too, because he's very into Turtle Island.
I'm hoping the Moreland brothers will show up. So.
Oh yeah, well hopefully, yeah. Well, we need to make sure. The first date is the 6th, right? That's next weekend, next Saturday.
September 12th.
September 12th.
Oh, sorry, the 5th. Sorry, the 5th. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Oh.
Is it the
Linda
5th?
be running the show, don't she? She's running the show.
Is it the 5th, Linda?
September 5th, September 12th, and September 19th.
Okay, yeah, I changed them on the website, but I didn't change them in my mind because I thought I wouldn't be able to make it.
G, you good too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm not, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I.
It's just time. I mean, it's just time. What else, What else?
Yeah, well, we think, okay, we're committing. We're going to commit right now, okay?
Absolutely. It's a Saturday. I mean, what else am I doing other than fishing?
Oh, wow.
Playing with my other grandson. That's what.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Cynthia, you got to see my son.
Please tell them about it and invite them to it, because the more Moors we can get and saturate this shit.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that'll be important because, again, like I said, if we can collectively come together with intelligence and purpose, I think that we can get some things done. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because truth is art, and that's it. It either is or it's not.
That's what Malcolm said. It's the truth, no matter who tells it.
Thank you. So that's what we're gonna work for. Yeah.
And since we all been hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any difference how much melanin you got in your skin.
I know.
We all been hoodwinked.
To death. And
Real.
we're gonna straighten it out though. We're seriously.
Let's straighten it out.
No, I just wanted to really come on and just really relax and have a nice, conversation about any and everything. And then when we go with the mortgage legacy, we're gonna go in because I got some stuff that we can go in with.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my show coming up in about, I don't know, what, right now?
Right now.
My show,
tag
my
me
show
there?
coming up is called The Load of Crap Chronicles, Part 1. Part 1. And it's going to be about government.
Hashtag load of crap.
Load of crap. I love it. That was a beautiful title. I love
I'm gonna try to bust 2 hours on just talking about government and what it is and what it's not.
Oh, good.
Why it was started and why it needs to go away. So
Okay.
that's
So
what I'm doing.
since Greg is on,
Yes.
it's our clue. It's our cue to get off.
Cynthia.
So, Cynthia, thank you so much
Thank
for coming on
Hey,
today.
you guys are wonderful and beautiful, and I appreciate you so very much. And like I said, we're together, so you already know that, and we will stay together. So I just really appreciate you guys. I love the show. I'm getting involved in the UFO part of it too. So I'll be
Good.
because I have to. I'm an experiencer, so I have to do that. I've been that way before I even really got involved in the Moorish thing. I was really, into my extraterrestrial self.
But now you realize they're one and the same. So
Yeah, exactly. 333.
thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Greg, you have a great show.
Great show.
Everybody, thank you.
you.
We'll see you next Saturday, the 5th.
Yes.
At 3.
At 3 Eastern
Eastern.
time.
Yes.
Okay, Greg, send me a link so I can watch your show.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
This is right. This is the same link you're on. It's the
Okay.
same link.
Okay, do I stay on there?
If you want, you can stay on you want, as long as you want to stay.
I'll stay and listen to what you have to say.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
All right.
Bye, guys.
All right, bye.
Oh, yeah. Katie, did you get